When the stranger walked into the hospital and took her daughter, Maya's world shattered. But this story started 45 minutes earlier, with a wrong number, a dying phone, and a mother's desperate text. It was past midnight at St. Catherine's Medical Center. The hallway smelled like disinfectant and fear. Maya sat on the cold floor outside room 412, her back pressed to the wall. Inside, Lily screamed again, high, broken, and raw. She'd been screaming for 3 days. The doctors said it was a fever, but none of the tests showed anything. Maya checked her phone, 4% battery. Her hands shook as she opened Dominic's contact, the man who'd left her when she was 3 months pregnant. She'd sworn she'd never message him again. But Lily was dying, and pride couldn't save her child. She typed, "Dominic, Lily is dying. You're the only one who can help. I need $500 for tests. Please don't ignore me this time." Her thumb hovered over send. Then she pressed it. The message showed delivered. Maya let the phone fall beside her and leaned back against the wall. Shame burned behind her tired eyes. She didn't expect an answer. Then her phone buzzed. "Who is Lily?" Her heart stumbled. That wasn't Dominic's tone. She frowned at the screen. "Of course you know who she is," she muttered. Then she looked again at the number. It wasn't Dominic's. She'd messaged a stranger. "I'm sorry, wrong number." "What's wrong with your child? How much do you need?" The words made her chest tighten. She almost blocked the number. But then Lily screamed again. The sound tore through Maya's soul. $500. I'll pay you back as soon as she's better. Send your account number. This was crazy. But what else could she do? Her daughter was 5 doors down, burning up, and no one could explain why. She sent it.
3 seconds later, her phone vibrated. $50,000 received from Kieran Blackwood. Maya's breath caught. 50,000? Tears filled her eyes. She ran to the nurse's station and paid for every test and treatment. She texted back, "This is too much. I only needed $500. "It's not. Just take care of your child." Her hands trembled. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." "You don't have to. Tell me what's happening to her." Maya hesitated. She didn't know him, but he'd just given her more than anyone ever had, without asking for anything. So she told him everything. The fever that wouldn't break, the sleepless nights, how Lily said something inside her was trying to get out, how her eyes sometimes glowed, bright, almost silver, how she broke the metal bed rail with her bare hands. Doctors can't explain it. They say it's psychological, but it's not. The typing bubble appeared, then stopped. Then it appeared again. Finally, the message came. "Give me your address." "Why?" "Because you're in the wrong kind of hospital. I know what's happening to her. She may die." Maya's heart raced with fear. "How could you possibly say that? Are you a doctor?" "Tell me the hospital name, Maya." Her pulse raced. He had known her name from the transaction. "Never mind. Please forget this conversation." She locked her phone. Her eyes stung with tears. "I shouldn't have trusted a stranger," she whispered. "I'll return his money when you're better, Lily. I promise." 45 minutes later, the door burst open. Maya jumped to her feet. A man stepped in. The air seemed to shrink around him. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and eyes that gleamed like amber glass. His suit looked too clean for this place, too sharp. Behind him, another man blocked the doorway. The stranger's gaze went straight to Lily. His jaw tightened. He stepped closer, breathing in slow and deep, like he could smell something in the air. "Who are you?" Maya demanded, backing away from the bed. The man looked at her. "Kieran Blackwood." Her stomach dropped. The name from the transfer. The stranger from her messages. She knew he was wealthy from his appearance. Her brows furrowed as she tried to speak, but her voice broke. "What are you doing here?" "I'm taking Lily with me," he said. "We don't have time." Maya's blood turned cold. "You're crazy if you think you can just take my daughter. Who sent you? Dominic? I don't know who that is, but if you keep her here, she'll die.
The words hit Maya like a cold slap. Her throat tightened. She glanced at the double doors, at the nurse's station empty and far away. For a second, she couldn't decide what to curse. The man who spoke, the fact that she'd accepted his money, or the helpless hum of the hospital that felt suddenly thin as paper. If Lily's in danger, the doctors can help, she said, but the sentence came out small, as if the room had swallowed it. She can't be treated here. His tone was final. He reached for Lily. Maya lunged forward. Don't touch her! But before she could stop him, he lifted Lily into his arms, gently, like she was made of glass. Put her down! Help! Somebody help me! She shouted. No one came. The nurses at the desk turned away. Security didn't move. They all knew who he was. Everyone except Maya. She ran after him, tears streaming down her face. Please don't take my baby. Please. He didn't answer. He stepped past her, steady and unhurried, Lily limp in his arms. Kieran, Maya cried. Please, she's my daughter. He stopped for half a second, his back to her. Not for long if she stays here, he said, voice hard, low. Then he kept going. Maya followed him down the corridor, her slippers slapping against the tile. When she burst outside, the headlights of a black SUV flared to life. Kieran opened the rear door, slid Lily inside, and wrapped his jacket around her. Where are you taking her? Maya screamed, reaching for him. He turned, eyes like molten gold under the streetlight. Somewhere that can save her. Before she could move again, the door shut. The engine roared. The SUV peeled away from the curb, tires hissing against wet asphalt. Maya ran after it, barefoot and sobbing, until the lights disappeared into the dark. The only thing left was the echo of the engine and the small, empty hospital bracelet lying on the pavement. Morning light crept through the blinds. Maya Torres jerked awake in the hospital chair, neck aching, eyes raw. She hadn't meant to sleep. At some point in the night, her body had just shut down. She was still in the same clothes, the same hallway, the same empty room where her daughter had been. She pressed her palms to her face. She couldn't go home, couldn't even think about it. How could she walk into that silent apartment knowing her daughter was out there, somewhere, with a man she barely knew? Dr. Patel's voice from last night echoed in her head. Prepare yourself. I'm so sorry. Lily was dying. And Maya had let a stranger take her. Her phone sat dead in her lap. No charger, no updates. No way to know if Kieran Blackwood had kept his word, or if she'd handed her daughter to a monster. The lobby was quiet this early. A janitor mopped floors, a nurse changed shifts. Maya sat frozen, staring at nothing. She'd cried herself empty. Now there was only silence. She drifted outside, scanning the parking lot like a thief, half hoping, half dreading that black SUV might return. Every sound made her jump. Every engine that passed made her heart lurch. Then she heard it. Engines, deep and heavy. Her pulse spiked. Several black SUVs rolled into the lot and stopped in formation. Men in dark suits stepped out, precise and silent, like a private army. And then Kieran Blackwood. He stepped from the lead car, tall, commanding, his coat cutting through the cold wind. Maya's vision went red. She didn't care who he was or how rich. He had taken her child. She stormed toward him, voice shaking. Where is she? Where's my daughter? Kieran's expression didn't change. She's... Her hand moved before reason did. The slap cracked through the lot. Every man around him stiffened. The one closest to Kieran stepped forward instantly, but Kieran raised a hand without looking at him. He turned his face slightly, jaw tight where her palm had struck. For a flicker of a second, something raw crossed his eyes. Pain, disbelief. No one had ever dared touch him before. Where is she? Maya's voice broke, but her stance didn't.
You had no right. I don't care how much money you have. You don't just take someone's child. Kieran's gaze locked on hers, voice low. You think I'd hurt her? Before Maya could answer, Mommy! The sound sliced through the tension. Maya froze, her head whipped toward the SUVs. Lily was running toward her, dark curls bouncing, cheeks flushed with color, no fever, no screams, no pain, just her daughter, alive. Maya dropped to her knees, arms open. Baby, oh God, baby, I thought... I'm okay, Lily laughed, breathless. Why are you crying? And why did you hit Mr. Kieran? He helped me. Maya stared, speechless. He made the hurt go away, Lily said proudly, and he has a big house and pancakes with chocolate chips and... You're okay? Maya whispered, brushing her daughter's warm face. Her heartbeat thudded beneath her fingers, steady, alive. I feel good, Lily grinned. Mr. Kieran said I was brave. Maya looked up at Kieran, still kneeling on the cold pavement. Relief, shame, confusion, all crashed through her. She swallowed hard. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have... You're her mother, he said quietly. You were protecting her. His tone was calm, but his eyes burned with something she couldn't name. Hurt pride, restrained anger, and maybe a trace of respect. Maya stood slowly, keeping Lily close. I don't understand. What did you... She needed specialized care, Kieran said simply. I have resources the hospital doesn't. What kind of resources? The kind that saved her life. Not an answer. But Lily was breathing, smiling. That was enough, for now. Behind Kieran, his men unloaded boxes from the SUVs. Clothes, groceries, toys, everything top shelf. What is all that? Maya asked. Things Lily will need, he said simply. I assumed you'd want her home. This is too much. It's not. His eyes softened slightly as he looked at Lily. She deserves to feel safe. Maya wanted to argue, but exhaustion weighed her down. I'll pay you back, she whispered. No, Kieran said. You'll pay me back by taking care of the child. I'm offering you a job for stability. She blinked. What? You're a wildlife biologist, PhD candidate. Your research on wolf pack dynamics caught my attention. Her stomach twisted. How do you know that? I looked into you. No apology. Blackwood Industries needs an environmental consultant. Real position, fair pay, flexible hours so you can care for Lily. You're offering me a job? I'm offering stability, a way to breathe again. Why? Her voice shook. Why are you doing this? Pain flashed across his face. Because I know what it's like to lose someone, and because Lily deserves a mother who isn't drowning. Lily tugged her sleeve. Mommy, can we go home? I'm hungry. Maya looked at her daughter, alive, smiling, and then at the man she'd slapped. I'm sorry, she said again, for hitting you. His jaw flexed, but the fire in his eyes softened. You can earn my forgiveness, he said, by accepting the job and by letting me help protect Lily. Protect her from what? His gaze darkened. From whatever made her sick in the first place. Before Maya could speak, he turned to one of his men. Vincent will follow you home. Make sure you're safe. Then to Lily. Take care of your mom, little one. She's been very brave. Lily nodded seriously. I will. Kieran's eyes lingered on Maya for a moment longer, unreadable. Before he turned and got back into his SUV, Maya stood there in the cold, holding her daughter's hand, watching the convoy pull away. 1 week later, Maya, Lily in tow, stood in the lobby of Blackwood Industries. Kieran had told her to bring Lily since she was homeschooled. Over the past week, he'd learned almost everything about her and the little girl. His closeness to Maya wasn't about romance, it was about protection.
Offering her a job was his way of keeping them both under his watch. Maya, however, had no idea what kind of world Lily truly belonged to. She took a slow, uneasy breath, feeling like she'd stepped into the wrong building. She'd expected cold corporate design, glass, steel, and that sterile chill of billion-dollar companies. Instead, the lobby felt alive. The receptionist looked up as Maya approached. Lily's small hand tucked in hers. "Hi, I'm Maya Torres. I'm here to—" "Of course, you're expected." The woman's smile was immediate and familiar, unsettling Maya more than she wanted to admit. "Mr. Ronan will meet you by the elevator. 3rd floor." Expected. As if everyone already knew who she was. Maya followed the signs to the elevator, eyes catching on plaques, framed forest photos, and subtle cameras tucked into corners. This wasn't a company pretending to be important. This was important. By the time the elevator doors opened on the 3rd floor, her pulse was racing. A tall man stepped forward, dark-haired, amber-gray eyes that mirrored Kieran's. "Maya Torres." He extended a hand, smiling with the same confidence that both disarmed and unsettled her. "I'm Ronan Blackwood, Kieran's brother. Welcome to the family business." Maya hesitated, heartbeat stuttering. There was something about these people, something that didn't quite fit. She took his hand. "Thank you for—" "Don't thank me yet," he said with a grin. "You haven't seen your office." Then, crouching to Lily's height, his tone softened. "And you must be Lily. I've heard you're very brave." Lily nodded shyly, but didn't hide behind Maya's leg. That alone startled her mother. Usually, Lily took ages to warm up to strangers, especially men. "I like your voice," Lily said suddenly. "It sounds like Mr. Kieran's." Ronan chuckled. "That's because we're brothers. Want to see where the other kids play?" Lily's eyes lit up. "There are other kids? Lots of them. Come on." Ronan led them through bright glass corridors. People smiled as they passed, warm, but with an intensity that made Maya's skin prickle. They were assessing her. Her analytical mind couldn't help noticing things. Everyone looked healthy, unusually so. Bright-eyed, strong, the kind of vitality you didn't get from a gym. It came from somewhere deeper. They crossed a glass walkway into another building, and Maya stopped short. A private school stretched before them, sunlit and spacious, with forest views, shelves of books, soft rugs, and a playground straight out of a dream. Children ran and laughed, moving with wild, natural grace. A woman with kind eyes approached. "You must be Maya. I'm Nora, Lily's primary teacher." Lily tugged her mother's hand, eager to explore. "Go ahead, baby," Maya murmured. Lily ran off, laughter echoing through the room, pure and unguarded. Maya hadn't heard that sound in so long. "She'll do great here," Nora said warmly. "The kids have been excited to meet her." Maya smiled, though her heart twisted. Watching Lily blend so easily filled her with relief, and something colder, something she couldn't name. Ronan walked her to her new office next. It wasn't a cubicle. It was a glass-walled space overlooking the forest. A wide desk, dual monitors, and equipment she'd only dreamed of during her PhD. "This is a lot," Maya said carefully. "Kieran wanted you to have the best," Ronan said, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed. His gaze held that same knowing glint that made her uneasy. "You're not entry-level to him." Maya frowned. "I don't understand what that means." "You will," he smiled. "He'll be here soon to go over the details. For now, settle in." He paused at the door. "And Maya?" She looked up. "Usually, the CEO doesn't handle this part himself." "You could do it," Maya interrupted. Ronan's smile was faint. "Yes, I could. And I always did. But your case is different. This is the first time he's chosen to do it himself." Then he left, and Maya stood alone in her new office, heart pounding for reasons she didn't want to name. Maya was still getting familiar with her workspace when a sharp knock interrupted her thoughts. A woman stood in the doorway, tall, striking, with auburn hair pulled into a severe bun. She wore a tailored charcoal suit that screamed authority and money. Her eyes were pale green, cold, and assessing. "You must be the new environmental consultant." The woman's smile didn't reach her eyes. "I'm Sarah Vaughn, finance director." Maya stood, extending her hand. "Maya Torres." "Nice to meet you." Sarah's handshake was brief, almost dismissive. Her gaze swept over Maya's thrifted blazer and simple desk setup. "Temporary contractor position, correct?" Sarah asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. "Actually, it's a permanent role." Sarah's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "How unexpected. Well, I'm sure you'll do your best to keep up with our standards here. Blackwood Industries has a reputation to maintain." Before Maya could respond, Sarah's attention shifted to the glass partition overlooking the nursery school. Her expression hardened. "And you brought a child?" It wasn't a question. "That's unconventional. Mr. Blackwood approved." "I'm sure he did." Something sharp flickered in Sarah's eyes. "Kieran can be remarkably generous with certain people." "I hope you understand what you're getting into, Ms. Torres." The way she said Kieran's name, familiar, possessive, made Maya's stomach tighten. "I'm not sure what you mean." Sarah stepped closer, lowering her voice. "This company, this territory, it's not what it seems. There are rules here, hierarchies, things that outsiders don't understand." Her pale eyes locked on Maya's. "I've been with Blackwood Industries for 8 years. I know how things work. I know what belongs here and what doesn't." The threat was subtle, but unmistakable. "I appreciate the advice," Maya said carefully. "Do you?" Sarah tilted her head. "We'll see." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Oh, and Ms. Torres, if you need any help navigating the company systems, don't hesitate to ask. I'd hate for you to make any costly mistakes." Then she was gone, leaving only the faint scent of expensive perfume and something else, something wild that Maya couldn't quite identify. Maya sank back into her chair, heart racing. She'd just made an enemy. She didn't know why, but she felt it in her bones. An hour later, a knock broke the silence. Maya looked up from her files, wildlife surveys, impact reports, and her breath caught. Kieran Blackwood stood in the doorway. Seeing him here hit harder than she expected. He looked different in his own world, still commanding in dark slacks and a gray shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms, but somehow more real, like the hospital had been an act, and this was who he truly was. "Maya," her name and his voice did something to her pulse she refused to acknowledge. She stood awkwardly. "Mr. Blackwood." "Kieran." He stepped inside, and the room suddenly felt smaller. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for the opportunity." Her voice came out more formal than she intended. He moved to the window, watching the forest. For a moment, neither spoke. Maya studied him, the strong line of his shoulders, the careful control in his movements. But there was something else beneath it, something quieter. "Before we talk about work," he said, turning to face her, "I want to be clear." His amber-gray eyes locked on hers. "You owe me nothing. I'm not here to control you. Whatever I do, it's to protect Lily." Maya's throat tightened. "Then why are you doing this?" He held her gaze. "Because every child deserves protection, and because if something happened to her, I wouldn't forgive myself again. Lily was sent to redeem my mistake." The honesty in his voice disarmed her completely. Kieran looked away. He'd meant every word, but saying it had cost him. He'd built walls for 3 years, walls that kept grief and the world out. But standing here, watching Maya Torres fight between pride and gratitude, something inside him shifted, something he didn't recognize. "Let me show you what we need," he said, clearing his throat. For the next 20 minutes, he outlined her duties, but he couldn't stop noticing things. The way she leaned forward when something intrigued her, the sharpness of her questions, the light in her eyes when she saw the data, real passion breaking through her exhaustion. She was brilliant. He'd known that from her resume. But seeing it was something else. "This is incredible," Maya said, scrolling through migration maps. "Some of these recordings go back decades. Your company tracks long-term behavior?" "We do." Kieran stepped closer, pointing to the screen, aware of how near she was. "Sustainable forestry isn't just about cutting less. It's about understanding what we're part of." She looked up, eyes meeting his. "You actually care about this," she said softly. "It's not just PR." "No," he said quietly. "It's not." For a moment, they just looked at each other. Her breath hitched. His pulse stumbled. Kieran stepped back first. He hadn't felt this in 3 years, and hadn't wanted to. After Evelyn died, he'd buried that part of himself. Solitude was easier than hope, but Maya Torres was here, and she was breaking through every wall without even trying. "I should let you settle in," he said, moving to the door before he did something stupid. Then he left before she could see how much he meant it. In the hallway, Kieran exhaled slowly, leaning against the wall. A low growl echoed in his chest, his wolf stirring for the first time in years. "She is our mate." "No," he muttered. "She's human. She doesn't know." But as he walked back to his office, warmth spread through his chest, and for the first time in years, the cold felt a little less permanent. He didn't know what to do with that. Back in her office, Maya sat down, hands trembling. His words echoed in her mind. Her chest ached, not from fear, but from something far more dangerous. She'd seen the grief in his eyes, the restraint, the way he'd looked at Lily like she was both precious and painful. Kieran Blackwood wasn't helping out of charity. He was trying to save someone he couldn't save before, and somehow in the process, she was pulling him back to life. Maya pressed her palms to her face. "What am I getting into?" she whispered, because deep down, she already knew it wasn't just a job. 4 days later. Maya sat at her desk, hands hovering over the keyboard as the data loaded on her screen. She hadn't done fieldwork in over a year, hadn't touched wildlife survey software since her final research project before Lily got sick, the one that never finished because funding dried up and her world collapsed. But as she opened the migration tracking files, reviewed the environmental assessments, and pulled up years of behavioral data, something familiar stirred in her chest. Her brain clicked back into gear. She knew what to look for. Population patterns. Territorial markers. Predator-prey dynamics. Pack movement that didn't quite align with known wolf behavior in the region. It was like brushing off an old instrument and remembering the tune. She worked quietly for over 2 hours, only stopping when she noticed someone standing outside her office. Kieran. He stepped inside, glanced briefly through the glass toward the school building where Lily was, then turned his attention to her screen. "Settling in okay?" "Yeah, adapting." The corner of his mouth lifted. "Give it time." She smirked before catching herself. He moved closer, looking at the monitor. "You're already in the territorial survey files. I figured I'd start with the wolf population data. There are inconsistencies in the migration patterns that don't match standard pack behavior." Kieran's expression sharpened. "You found that already?" She shrugged. "It's not well hidden. The wolves in this region move differently than they should. Their range is more defined, almost like they're protecting specific boundaries." His jaw tightened. "Anything else feel off to you?" Maya hesitated. She'd only been here a week, but yeah, everything felt off. "The security," she said carefully. "It's extensive for a timber company. Cameras, guards, patrol schedules that seem more military than corporate. The behaviors here are extreme." Kieran was quiet for a moment, studying her. You notice a lot. I'm a scientist. It's what I do. Right, his voice dropped. Except you don't just notice. You see things others don't. Maya's pulse quickened. There was something in the way he said it, like a warning and a compliment wrapped together. Is that a problem? She asked. No. He looked at her with those unsettling amber eyes. It's exactly what I was hoping for. Then he turned and walked out. That afternoon, Maya found herself cataloging more than just wildlife data. She was cataloging people. The employees at Blackwood Industries moved differently. Not just healthy or fit, but fluid, like their bodies remembered something primal that hers had forgotten. They noticed everything. A door opening 3 rooms away, someone approaching from down the hall before she heard footsteps. The faint sound of Lily laughing from the school building that Maya couldn't detect until she was standing right outside. And they were always aware of each other, turning before someone spoke, moving in synchronized patterns, like a unit that didn't need words. Maya's scientist brain filed it all away. Conversation stopped when she approached. Not rudely, just carefully. She caught fragments of words that felt wrong in a corporate setting. Territory, borders, moon phase, pack business. It was Thursday afternoon when Maya's computer screen went black. No, no, no! She frantically pressed keys, but nothing responded. Hours of work, migration data, analysis reports, carefully documented findings, all gone. She grabbed her phone and called IT. Ms. Torres? The technician sounded confused. Your access credentials were revoked about 10 minutes ago. Says here it was an executive override from finance. Maya's blood went cold. Finance? Why would finance revoke my access? I don't know, ma'am, but I can't restore it without authorization from... A knock on her door. Sarah Vaughn stepped in, perfectly composed, a tablet in her hand. I heard you were having technical difficulties, Sarah said smoothly. How unfortunate. Maya stood. Did you revoke my access? Of course not. Sarah's expression was innocent, but her eyes glittered with something else. Though I did notice some unusual activity on your account earlier. Accessing restricted files, attempting to download sensitive company data. She tapped her tablet. Standard security protocols triggered an automatic lockout. That's not true. I was only accessing the files Kieran gave me permission. Mr. Blackwood, Sarah corrected softly. And I'm sure there's been some misunderstanding. These things happen with new hires who aren't familiar with our systems. She moved closer. I can help you sort this out, of course. But it might take some time. The security review process can be thorough. Maya's jaw tightened. She saw exactly what this was. A power play. A message. How long? Oh, a few hours at least. Maybe through the weekend if the system flags anything else. Sarah smiled. I'd suggest staying late tonight to get things resolved. Unless you'd rather wait until Monday? Maya thought of Lily waiting at the school. Thought of the work she needed to complete. Thought of how this would look to Kieran. Incompetent, careless, unable to handle the job. I'll stay, she said quietly. Excellent. Sarah's smile widened. I'll have it send someone up around, let's say 8 p.m.? That should give the security system time to complete its scans. 8 p.m., long after everyone else would be gone. Fine. Oh, and Ms. Torres? Sarah paused at the door. Tonight's a full moon. Beautiful views of the forest from this floor. You should take a moment to look outside. Very illuminating. Then she left, and Maya stood alone in her dark office, a cold knot of dread forming in her stomach. The following week, Kieran found more reasons to check on her work. He'd stop by her office in the mornings, asking about her progress. Always respectful, always professional. But the way he looked at her, like he was seeing more than just an employee, made her breath catch every time, and she was drawn to him in a way she couldn't explain. On Thursday, before the computer incident, He took her on a walk through the forest to survey one of the boundary sites. The trees were dense, old growth, untouched by logging. Kieran moved through them like he'd been born there. Every step sure, every turn instinctive. "You know this land well," Maya observed. "I've spent my whole life here." "Your family's been running this company for generations, right?" "Since 1847. Maya stopped walking. "That's a long time." Kieran turned back to her, something unreadable in his eyes. "My family takes care of this land, and the people who live on it." "People live out here?" "Some. In cabins, homes scattered through the territory." He paused. "It's a community, a big one." Maya looked around. The forest felt alive in a way she couldn't explain. Not threatening, but aware, like it was watching. "Do you ever see wolves out here?" she asked. Kieran's expression flickered. "Often. The data shows they're more active than normal, and their ranges are unusually defined. They're protective of their territory." "Yeah, but it's more than that." Maya pulled out her tablet, showing him the tracking maps. "Look at these patterns. They're not behaving like wild wolves. They're behaving like they're organized." Kieran studied the screen, his jaw tight. "You know something," Maya said quietly, "about the wolves. You know more than you're telling me." He looked at her then, and for a moment she saw something raw in his eyes. Conflict, longing, fear. "I do," he admitted, "but I'm not ready to tell you yet." "Why not?" "Because once I do, everything changes." Maya's pulse hammered. "Changes how?" Kieran stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from him. "You'll see me differently. You'll see all of this differently. And I don't want to lose." He stopped himself. "Lose what?" Maya whispered. His golden gaze burned into hers. "This, whatever this is between us." Her breath caught. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression shifted, urgent, concerned. "I need to go," he said. "I'll have Vincent drive you back." "Kieran, I'm sorry, Maya. I'll explain soon, I promise." Then he was gone, disappearing into the trees with a speed that shouldn't have been possible. Maya stood alone in the forest, heart pounding, questions multiplying. "What are you hiding, Kieran Blackwood?" That Friday evening, Maya worked late. By 7:30 p.m., the office was a ghost town. Maya had called Sadie to watch Lily. Her friend had been understanding but concerned. "You sure you're okay there alone?" "I'm fine. Just work stuff. I'll be home soon." But she wasn't fine. The building felt wrong, too quiet, too empty. And that comment from Sarah kept echoing in her mind. "Full moon. You should look outside. Very illuminating." What did that mean? Maya tried to focus on her work, but the IT technician still hadn't shown up. Her computer remained locked. She was stuck. At 7:45, her office phone rang. Internal line. "Ms. Torres, this is Davis from IT. I'm having trouble accessing your floor remotely. Could you meet me in conference room C? It has a direct network port I can use to restore your credentials." Maya frowned. "Can't you just come to my office? The port in your office isn't responding. Conference room C is the only option right now." She hesitated. Something felt off. "Ms. Torres, I can't fix this without your cooperation. And Ms. Vaughn said this needs to be resolved tonight." "Of course she did." "Fine. Where's conference room C?" "North wing. Third door on your left after you cross the sky bridge. You can't miss it. It has the best view of the forest." Maya's stomach dropped. The forest. Full moon. Illuminating. Her hands started to shake. This was deliberate. All of it. Sarah had orchestrated this entire thing. But why? "Ms. Torres, you there?" Yeah, I'll be right there. She hung up, staring at her reflection in the darkened computer screen. Every instinct screamed at her to leave, to grab Lily from Sadie's and go home. But if she did, Sarah would have won, would have proof that Maya couldn't handle the job, couldn't handle the pressure, and worse, Kieran would think she'd given up. Maya grabbed her tablet and headed for the north wing. The sky bridge was glass on all sides, suspended between buildings, surrounded by darkness and stars. Maya's footsteps echoed in the emptiness. She found conference room C exactly where the technician said. The lights were off, but moonlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the forest. Maya stepped inside. No one was there. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Look outside. You deserve to know the truth." Maya's heart hammered. She should leave, right now. But something pulled her forward, toward those massive windows, toward that silver-lit forest. She pressed her hand against the glass and looked down. At first, she saw nothing. Just trees and shadows. Then, movement. Figures emerging from the tree line, dozens of them, moving in formation toward a clearing just beyond the building's floodlights. People. Employees she recognized. Ronan, Nora. Others from the office and school. They stood in a circle, and even from this distance, Maya could feel the energy radiating from them. Anticipation, unity, power. And then it began, the shift. One moment they were human, the next they weren't. Bodies rippling, reshaping, not violent, not painful, just transforming, fluid and natural like water becoming ice. Within seconds, the clearing was full of wolves, massive, powerful, moving with coordinated grace. Maya's breath fogged the glass. Her mind refused to process what she was seeing. This wasn't possible, couldn't be real. And there, at the center of the pack, the largest wolf, black fur with silver markings. He turned his head, and even from this distance, even in this impossible moment, Maya recognized those eyes. "Kieran." "Oh, God," she whispered. "Oh, God. What are you?" Behind her, a door opened. Maya spun around. Sarah Vaughn stood in the doorway, backlit by the hallway. She wasn't surprised. She was smiling. "Now you know," Sarah said softly. "Now you understand what you've gotten yourself into." Maya backed against the window. "You did this. You made me see." "I helped you see the truth." Sarah stepped into the room. "Because you deserve to know what Kieran really is. What all of us are." Her eyes flashed, not metaphorically, but literally, with golden light. "What you'll never be." "You're—" Maya couldn't finish. "A wolf. Yes. Born into this pack. Raised in this world." Sarah moved closer. "Unlike you, Ms. Torres, you're human, fragile, temporary, and completely out of your depth." "Why?" Maya's voice shook. "Why show me this?" "Because I thought you'd do the smart thing." Sarah's expression hardened. "I thought once you saw what Kieran was, what we all are, you'd be terrified. You'd take your half-breed daughter and run. Save us all the trouble of watching you fail." "Half-breed? Lily? Oh, you didn't know?" Sarah's smile was cruel. "Your daughter is one of us. That's why she was sick. That's why Kieran saved her. She's pack, whether you like it or not." Maya's world tilted. Everything clicked into place. The hospital, the mysterious recovery, Kieran's insistence on keeping them close. "You wanted me to leave," Maya whispered. "You wanted me to be so scared that I'd take Lily away. I wanted you to realize you don't belong here." Sarah's voice dropped. "Kieran has been alone for 3 years. 3 years of grief, of isolation. I've been here, waiting, supporting him, earning my place at his side." Understanding dawned, cold and sharp. "You're in love with him. I'm his equal." Sarah's eyes blazed. I'm Pac. I'm strong. I understand this world. And then you show up, a desperate human with a sick child. And suddenly, he's looking at you like you're something precious, like you matter. I didn't ask for any of this, but you took it anyway. Sarah's composure cracked. The job, the attention, his protection. You took everything that should have been mine. And for what? You can't give him what he needs. You can't be his mate. You're just a human. Maya's fear crystallized into something else. Anger. You're right, she said quietly. I am human, but I didn't run. I'm still here. And that terrifies you, doesn't it? Sarah's expression went cold. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. For a long moment they stood there, the wolf and the human, separated by more than just species. Finally, Sarah stepped back. This isn't over, she said. Stay if you want, but know this. The pack won't accept you. They'll see what I see, a weakness, a liability, and eventually, Kieran will too. She turned and walked out, leaving Maya alone with the truth. Below, in the clearing, the wolves howled, a sound that was both beautiful and terrifying, and Maya stood at the window, watching the man she was falling for run with his pack under the full moon. Everything had changed, and there was no going back. The door to her office opened behind her. Maya spun around, heart in her throat. Kieran stood in the doorway. He was breathing hard, shirtless, jeans unbuttoned like he'd thrown them on in a hurry. His dark hair was disheveled, and there was something wild in his expression, something she'd never seen before. Maya. His voice was rough. Maya backed away, looking between him and the window. That was you. Kieran went very still. Those wolves out there. Her voice shook. That was you. For a long moment he didn't answer. Then quietly, yes. The word hung in the air between them. Maya's worldview shattered in real time. Tears streamed down her cheeks. This isn't real, she said, her voice rising. Kieran stepped into the room slowly, hands raised like he was approaching something wild. It's very real, and I need you to stay calm. Maya backed against the wall. Stay calm? What are you, a wild animal? No, werewolves, Maya. His voice was steady, certain. All of us. This is pack territory. I'm the alpha. Maya pressed her back against the window, shaking her head. Werewolves aren't real. They're folklore. You're a scientist. Kieran's golden eyes locked on hers. You've been documenting the evidence for 3 weeks. Maya's legs gave out. She slid down the wall, hands shaking. Lily, Maya whispered, horror flooding through her. Is she? She's half wolf, Kieran said gently. Her father was a werewolf. That's why she was sick. She was starting to shift early, and her body couldn't handle it without guidance. Maya's breath came in short gasps. Dominic is a werewolf? Yes, I brought Lily to the pack. That's why she got well. Maya looked up at him, tears spilling down her cheeks. Why didn't you tell me? How could I tell a stranger that I'm a werewolf? His voice was raw. I knew that once you knew the truth, everything would change between us. You were right, her voice broke. Everything just changed. Kieran's expression cracked with pain. Maya, I need to go. She tried to move, but her legs wouldn't hold her. I need to get Lily, and you can't leave. His tone was firm, but not unkind. Not tonight. It's not safe. Not safe from what? From you? I would never hurt you, Maya. Never. Everything I've done has been to protect you and Lily. By lying to me? By keeping you safe until you were ready for the truth. Maya pressed her hands to her face, her world collapsing around her. Her daughter was half wolf. The man she'd been falling for could turn into one. Oh, God, I was falling for him. I can't. She couldn't finish, couldn't breathe. Kieran reached out slowly, resting a tentative hand on her shoulder. Look at me, Maya. She did. And what she saw wasn't the monster she'd imagined, but the man who had saved her daughter. The man who'd given her a job. The man who looked at her like she was something precious. I know this is terrifying, he said softly, but you and Lily are safe here. I swear it. On my life, on my pack. You're under my protection. No one will touch you. No one was touching us before. Her words came out sharp, bitter. Maya pulled away. No one was threatening us until you brought us here. You manipulated everything. The money, the job, bringing Lily into your territory. All of it was control, dressed up as kindness. Kieran's jaw tightened. I saved your daughter's life. By lying to me, Maya's voice rose. You made me dependent on you. You made sure I had nowhere else to go, so I'd have to stay here, where you could keep us under watch. Keep Lily close because she's one of you? That's not... Isn't it? She cut in, anger burning through her fear. You answered a wrong number text. You sent thousands of dollars to a stranger, and now I find out it was all because you knew what she was? Because you had some alpha agenda? Kieran rose too, his composure slipping. His eyes flashed molten gold. My agenda was keeping a 5-year-old from dying in agony while her body tore itself apart. My agenda was protecting an innocent woman and her daughter from a world that would have destroyed you both. You should have told me the truth. When? Maya? His voice cracked with frustration. When you were crying in a hospital hallway, thinking your daughter was dying? When you couldn't even afford a meal? When exactly was I supposed to tell you that werewolves exist, your ex is one, and your daughter is becoming something that could kill her without help? Maya's fists trembled. You still should have... I did what I had to do to save her life. He stepped closer. She didn't move. Yes, I manipulated things. Yes, I made sure you'd stay close, because the alternative was watching Lily die, or watching you become a target for every wolf who'd want to know why a human woman had a hybrid child. Her blood ran cold. A target? What do you mean? Kieran's face darkened. Lilybeth's not safe outside the pack. They will come for her, and you won't only lose her. He stopped himself halfway. The words hit like ice water. So this wasn't just about helping us, Maya whispered. It was about control, containment. No. His voice softened. It started that way, but it stopped being about that the moment I met you. Maya let out a hollow laugh. I'm supposed to believe that? Believe what you want. His golden eyes burned into hers. But I'm not apologizing for saving your daughter or for giving you a home. And I'm sure as hell not apologizing for caring about you, even though I know I shouldn't. The words hung between them, raw and heavy. Maya's throat tightened. You don't get to care about me, not after lying to me. I know. His voice was quiet, but the pain in it was real. But I do anyway. Maya stood in Kieran's office the next morning, a resignation letter in her hand. She hadn't slept. Couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those amber wolf eyes staring back at her from the forest. Kieran sat behind his desk, looking as exhausted as she felt. He took the letter without reading it. I can't accept this, he said quietly. You don't have a choice. Maya, I need to think. Her voice cracked despite her efforts to stay strong. I need space from all of this. From you. Something broke in his expression. Where will you go? Lily needs... Don't. Maya's hand trembled. Don't use my daughter to manipulate me. Not again. That's not what I'm doing. He stood, and she took an involuntary step back. The hurt in his eyes was devastating. But Lily needs guidance. Her wolf is emerging. Without proper training, without pack. She's 5 years old. She's a shifter. His voice was gentle but firm. And that won't change just because you're afraid of what it means. Maya pressed her palms against the desk. I'm not afraid of her. I'm afraid of losing her to a world I don't understand. You won't lose her. Kieran moved around the desk slowly. But you can't protect her from what she is. And what is she exactly? The question came out broken. What is my daughter going to become? Strong, loyal, part of something bigger than herself. He paused. Like her mother. Maya's throat tightened. I'm not part of this. You've been part of it since the moment you sent that text. His amber eyes held hers, whether you accept it or not. 3 days passed. Maya went through the motions, waking up, taking Lily to the PAC school, working in her office, pretending the world made sense. But it didn't. She watched Lily more carefully now, noticed things she'd overlooked before, the way Lily's eyes sometimes caught the light at odd angles, how she could hear things Maya couldn't, the increasing strength in her small hands when she gripped too tight during hugs, and the questions. Mommy? Why do some of the kids have gold eyes sometimes? Mommy, can I go to the forest with Mr. Ronan and the others? Mommy, when do I get to change like they do? Maya didn't have answers, didn't know what to say, so she deflected, postponed, avoided, until she couldn't anymore. It was Friday evening when Sarah appeared in Maya's office doorway. 3 days had passed since that night. 3 days of processing, learning, slowly accepting the impossible truth. Maya hadn't run, hadn't quit, hadn't taken Lily away, and Sarah knew it. You're still here, Sarah said, her tone flat. Maya looked up from her work. I'm still here. I underestimated you. Sarah stepped inside, closing the door behind her. That was my mistake. What do you want, Sarah? To give you one last chance. Sarah moved to the window, looking out at the forest. I know Kieran told you everything about what we are, about Lily, about why he brought you here. He did. And you're staying anyway. It wasn't a question. Yes. Sarah turned, her green eyes hard. Then you need to understand something. This isn't just about you and Kieran. This is about PAC law. PAC hierarchy. You're human, Maya. You can never be one of us. You can never truly be his equal. He doesn't seem to think that matters. Because he's blinded by guilt. Sarah's voice rose slightly. He couldn't save his wife. Couldn't save his child. So he's projecting all that grief onto you and Lily. You're a replacement, a second chance, nothing more. The words hit harder than Maya wanted to admit. And when that guilt fades, Sarah continued, when he realizes you can't give him what he needs, a true mate, wolf children, a partner who understands his world, what then? That's not your decision to make. No, but it's the PAC's decision whether to accept you. Sarah stepped closer. I have influence here. I can make your life very difficult. I can turn PAC members against you. I can make sure every day is a struggle, every gathering a reminder that you don't belong. Maya stood, meeting Sarah's gaze. Is that a threat? It's a warning. Sarah's voice dropped. Walk away now, Maya. Take Lily somewhere safe. Let Kieran move on with someone who actually fits in his world. Do the right thing. The right thing? Maya's voice shook with anger. The right thing is protecting my daughter. The right thing is fighting for the people I love. The right thing is not letting you bully me into giving up. You can't win this. Maybe not. Maya squared her shoulders. But I'm not going anywhere. So you can either accept that, or you can waste your energy trying to push me out. Your choice. For a moment, Sarah just stared at her. Then something shifted in her expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition. You're stronger than I thought, Sarah said quietly. But strength isn't enough in this world. You'll see. She turned to leave, then paused at the door. He loved Evelyn too, you know. And she died because she couldn't survive in our world. Don't make the same mistake. Then she was gone. Maya sank back into her chair, hands trembling. Sarah was wrong. She had to be. But a small, terrified voice in the back of Maya's mind whispered, "What if she's right?" It was Friday evening when Nora, Lily's teacher, called her into the school. "Is something wrong?" Maya asked, heart racing. Nora smiled gently. "No, but I wanted to talk to you about Lily's progress." They sat in the quiet classroom while Lily played outside with the other children. "She's adjusting beautifully," Nora said. "She's made friends. She's learning control, but what?" Nora hesitated. "She's starting to ask questions about why she's different, why you don't shift, why she can't go home with the other kids sometimes." Maya's chest tightened. "What do I tell her?" "The truth." Nora's voice was kind. "She deserves to know what she is, and she needs to see that you're not afraid of it." "I'm not afraid of her." "I know." Nora reached across, touching Maya's hand gently. "But you're afraid of this world, and she can feel that." Maya looked out the window at Lily, laughing as she chased another child across the grass. Her daughter looked happier than she had in months, alive in a way Maya hadn't seen since before she got sick. "How do I do this?" Maya whispered. "How do I raise a child in a world I don't understand?" "The same way any mother does," Nora smiled. "One day at a time, and by accepting the help that's being offered." Maya knew who she meant. That night, Maya found herself standing outside Kieran's house, not the office. She'd gotten the address from Ronan, who'd looked at her with knowing eyes and said, "It's about time." Now, standing at the door, she wasn't sure she could do this. But before she could turn away, the door opened. Kieran stood there, looking surprised and guarded. He wore jeans and a simple Henley, his feet bare, hair slightly mussed like he'd been running his hands through it. "Maya, can we talk?" Her voice was steadier than she felt. He stepped aside without a word. The house was nothing like she expected. Warm wood, stone fireplace, floor-to-ceiling windows looking out at the wilderness. Books everywhere. Photos on the walls, some old, black and white, showing what must have been generations of Blackwoods. Others more recent. One caught her eye, a beautiful woman with dark hair and bright eyes, laughing at whoever held the camera. "Evelyn," Kieran said quietly, following her gaze. Maya turned. "Your wife?" "Yes." "What happened to her?" The question came out gentler than she intended. Kieran was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Childbirth. The baby was... It was too much for her body. We lost them both." Maya's heart broke. "Kieran, I'm so..." "She was human." His voice was rough. "Like you. She knew what I was, what the baby would be. But her body couldn't handle the hybrid pregnancy. It tore her apart from the inside." The words hit Maya like a tidal wave. "That's why you helped us," she whispered. "That's why you couldn't let Lily die." He turned away, shoulders tight. "I failed Evelyn, failed our child. I watched them both slip away and couldn't do anything." His voice cracked. "When I got your text, when I realized what was happening to Lily, I couldn't fail again." Maya crossed the room slowly. "You didn't fail them, Kieran." "I did." He kept his back to her. "I wasn't careful enough, didn't prepare her properly, didn't protect her from..." "Stop." Maya's hand touched his shoulder, and he went still. "You can't control everything. Not even an alpha can do that." He turned then, and the raw pain in his eyes nearly undid her. "I know that now," he said quietly, "but 3 years ago I didn't, and it destroyed me." Maya understood then, really understood, why he'd been so careful, why he'd manipulated things, why he couldn't just let them walk away. "You were trying to save us," she said softly, "because you couldn't save them." "Yes."
The word came out broken. And I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth sooner.
Should have trusted you with it, but I was terrified that if you knew, if you understood what this world could do to you, you'd take Lily and run, and she'd die, and you'd both be gone. Tears burned Maya's eyes. I wouldn't have understood. Not then. Do you understand now? She looked up at him, at this man who'd turned her entire world upside down, who'd lied and manipulated and protected in equal measure, who looked at her daughter like she was precious, who looked at her like she was something he'd never expected to find again. I'm trying to, she whispered. Kieran stepped back, giving her space. What do you want to know? Everything. Maya sat down on the couch. Start from the beginning. So he did. He told her about Werewolf. He told her about Lily's father, Dominic Reeves. He was from a pack in the South. Came here for work, met you, broke every rule we have by getting you pregnant and not telling you what he was. Why didn't he tell me? Because he was a coward. Kieran's voice was harsh. And because hybrid pregnancies are complicated, dangerous. He probably panicked and ran. But Lily turned out okay. By chance. His amber eyes were serious. Human women who carry werewolf children. The odds aren't good. You're lucky you both survived. Maya's hand went to her stomach, remembering the difficult pregnancy, the unexplained complications, the doctors who couldn't figure out what was wrong. And now, she asked, what happens to Lily? She learns control, learns to shift safely, becomes part of the pack. He paused. With your permission. And if I say no, then I'll respect that. His voice was steady. But Lily will still be a werewolf. She'll still have instincts and needs that won't go away. And without guidance, she could hurt herself. Or others. Maya looked out the window at the forest beyond. You're saying she needs this, needs the pack. Yes. And me? She turned back to him. Where do I fit in this world? Kieran's expression shifted, something warm and uncertain crossing his features. Wherever you want to be, he said carefully. Some humans live among us, knowing the truth. Others keep their distance. It's your choice, Maya. Always. But you want me to stay? Yes. No hesitation. I want you to stay. Why? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, because when I'm with you, I feel alive again. Because Lily makes me remember what I'm fighting to protect. Because you see through every wall I've built. And somehow that doesn't terrify me anymore. Maya's breath caught. Because, he continued, voice dropping, you're the first person in 3 years who's made me want something beyond survival. The air between them felt electric. I'm human, Maya said, but her voice had lost its edge. I know. I can't shift, can't be part of the pack. Not really. You're already part of it. He took a step closer. You have been since the moment you walked into my territory. The pack knows it. They've accepted you. They're just waiting for you to accept yourself. And what am I accepting exactly? Another step. That you belong here. That Lily belongs here. That this... He gestured between them. Whatever this is, it's real. Maya stood slowly, closing the distance between them. You're asking me to trust you, she said. After everything. I'm asking you to trust yourself. His hand lifted, hovering near her face, but not touching. To trust what you feel when you're here. To trust that I'll spend every day proving I'm worthy of that trust. Her heart hammered. And if I can't, if this is too much, then I'll let you go. The pain in his voice was real. I'll make sure you and Lily are protected. Set up somewhere safe. I'll disappear from your life if that's what you need. You'd do that? I'd do anything for you. His amber eyes burned into hers. Even walk away. Maya reached up, her hand finally closing the distance, touching his face. He went absolutely still. "I don't want you to walk away," she whispered. 2 weeks later, everything changed again. Maya had started attending pack gatherings, cautiously, on the edges, but present. She watched how they interacted, how the hierarchy worked, how Kieran commanded respect without demanding it. She'd also started learning. Nora taught her wolf customs. Ronan explained pack law. Even the children helped, answering Lily's questions with a patience that made Maya's heart ache. But she still hadn't seen them shift, until tonight. It was the full moon. The pack gathered in a clearing deep in the forest, and for the first time, Maya and Lily were invited. "You don't have to watch," Kieran had said. "If it's too much." "I need to see it." Maya's voice was firm. "If this is Lily's future, I need to understand it." So they stood at the clearing's edge, Lily's small hand gripped in Maya's as the pack began to shift. It wasn't like the movies. There was no pain, no screaming, just a fluid, natural transformation. Bodies reshaping, bones restructuring, fur rippling across skin. Within moments, the clearing was full of wolves, massive, powerful, beautiful. And there, at the center, was the largest, a black wolf with silver markings and amber gold eyes. Kieran. Lily gasped with wonder. "Mommy, they're so pretty." Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. She watched Kieran, the wolf, move through the pack, touching noses with some, play wrestling with others, completely at ease in a form that should have been impossible. Then he turned and looked directly at her. The intelligence in those eyes was unmistakable. Still him. Still Kieran. He patted closer, and Maya's instinct screamed at her to run, but she didn't. She stood her ground as he approached, lowered his massive head, and huffed softly, not threatening. Asking. Maya slowly reached out her hand. His fur was impossibly soft, warm, real. "Hi," she whispered. The wolf, Kieran, pressed against her hand, and something in Maya's chest cracked open. This was real, all of it, and she wasn't afraid anymore. Lily pulled on her hand. "Mommy, can I pet him too?" "Yes, baby." Lily reached out fearlessly, giggling when Kieran nuzzled her cheek. Then another wolf approached, a smaller gray female, Nora, and another, Ronan's russet-colored form. Soon Lily was surrounded by wolves, laughing and petting them without hesitation. She belonged here, and Maya realized, watching her daughter glow with joy, that maybe she did too. Later that night, after the pack had shifted back and most had gone home, Maya sat with Kieran by the dying fire. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for showing me. Thank you for staying." She looked at him. "I haven't decided to stay yet." "Haven't you?" His mouth curved slightly. Maya wanted to argue, but sitting here, under the stars, with the sound of wolves howling in the distance, and Lily asleep in Nora's cabin nearby, it felt right. "What happens now?" she asked. Kieran was quiet for a moment. "That depends on what you want." "I want Lily to be safe, happy. I want her to understand what she is without being afraid of it." "She will be." He turned to face her. "What about you, Maya? What do you want for yourself?" The question hung between them. Maya thought about the past month, the fear, the anger, the slow, reluctant acceptance, and underneath it all, the pull she felt toward this man, this alpha, this impossible, complicated, broken, beautiful person who'd saved her daughter and somehow started saving her too. She took a breath. "I want to stay. Not because I have nowhere else to go. Not because you're protecting us. But because when I'm here,
When I'm with you, I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be. Kieran's eyes widened slightly. I don't understand this world yet, Maya continued. I don't know all the rules or customs. I can't shift or run with the pack or do any of the things that make someone belong here. But I want to try. I want to learn. And I want... She met his gaze. I want to see where this goes. With you. For a long moment, Kieran didn't move. Then he reached out, cupping her face with both hands. Maya Torres, he said, voice rough with emotion. You already belong here. Not because you understand everything. Not because you can shift, but because you're brave enough to stay despite being terrified. Because you fight for what you love. Because you're teaching me how to hope again. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I don't have much to offer, he continued. I'm broken. I've made mistakes. I'll probably make more. But if you'll let me, I'll spend every day proving that sending that text to the wrong number was the best accident that ever happened to both of us. Maya laughed through her tears. It wasn't an accident. No. She leaned into his touch. I think the universe knew exactly what it was doing. Then Kieran kissed her. It was gentle at first, tentative, asking permission. But when Maya kissed him back, threading her fingers through his hair, something ignited between them. 3 years of grief. Weeks of tension. A lifetime of loneliness on both sides, finally finding someone who understood. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Kieran rested his forehead against hers. Stay with me, he whispered. You and Lily. Not in the company housing. Not as an employee. Stay with me. Let me protect you. Let me love you. Maya's heart stuttered. Love? I'm falling for you, Maya. His amber eyes were blazing. Have been since the moment you slapped me in that parking lot for taking your daughter. Maybe before that. And I know it's fast and complicated and possibly insane, but I can't help it. You've brought light back into my life, and I'm not letting that go without a fight. She couldn't speak, could only stare at this impossible man who'd become everything she never knew she needed. You don't have to say it back, Kieran said quickly. I'm not expecting... I'm falling for you too, Maya interrupted. And it terrifies me. Relief washed over his features. Good. Fear means you're paying attention. She laughed. Is that alpha wisdom? No, that's just me, hoping you won't run. I'm not running. She kissed him again, softer this time. Not anymore. 6 months later. Maya stood in front of the mirror in Kieran's, their bedroom, fastening the silver necklace she'd worn the night everything changed. Behind her, Lily sat on the bed in her new dress, swinging her legs excitedly. Mommy, are you nervous? A little, Maya admitted. Don't be. Everyone loves you. Maya smiled at her daughter. In 6 months, Lily had grown, not just physically, but in confidence. She'd learned control. Learned to shift into her wolf form and back, became a true member of the pack, and Maya had learned too. She'd studied wolf customs, attended pack meetings, found her place in this impossible world. She'd earned respect not by shifting or fighting, but by being herself, a scientist, a mother, a human who refused to be intimidated. The pack had accepted her completely, and tonight Kieran was making it official. The pack gathered in the same clearing where Maya had first watched them shift. Hundreds of wolves, in both forms, filled the space. All of them were there to witness the alpha's claiming ceremony. Maya walked through the crowd, Lily's hand in hers, toward the center where Kieran waited. He wore traditional pack regalia, dark leather and silver, marked with the symbols of his bloodline. But his eyes were only for her. When she reached him, he took both her hands. Maya Torres, he said, his voice carrying across the clearing. You came to us as a stranger
a human woman who knew nothing of our world. But you stayed. You learned. You fought for your place here. You earned the pack's respect. And my heart." The crowd murmured approval, most of them at least. Maya could feel some eyes on her that weren't quite welcoming. "Tonight, I claim you as my mate," Kieran continued. "My partner, my equal, not because you're Wolf, not because you're part of our bloodline, but because you're you, brave, brilliant, stubborn, and strong enough to stand beside an alpha." Tears slipped down Maya's cheeks. "Do you accept this bond?" Kieran asked, the ritual words ancient and powerful. "Do you accept this pack as your family, this territory as your home, and me as your mate?" Maya opened her mouth to answer. "I challenge this claim!" The voice rang out across the clearing, sharp and clear. The pack went silent. Everyone turned. Sarah Vaughn stepped into the center of the circle, her chin raised, eyes blazing with golden light. She wore traditional pack ceremonial dress, deep red, marking her as a high-ranking wolf. Kieran's expression went cold. "Sarah, stand down." "I cannot." Sarah's voice carried to every corner of the clearing. "Pack law gives me the right to challenge a claiming ceremony if I believe it violates our traditions." Ronan moved forward, his face dark. "This isn't the time." "This is exactly the time." Sarah turned to face the gathered pack. "For 3 years, we've watched our alpha grieve. We've supported him, waited for him to heal. Waited for him to choose a proper mate, someone who understands our world, who can lead beside him, who can give him wolf heirs." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some were apportive of Sarah, others were angry. "And now he chooses her," Sarah pointed at Maya. "A human, an outsider, a woman who's been in our territory for mere months. She knows nothing of our laws, our history, our ways. She's learned more in 6 months than—" Kieran started, but Sarah cut him off. "She's learned to survive. That's not the same as belonging." Sarah's eyes locked on Maya. "Tell me, Maya Torres, do you know the blood oath, the territorial rights, the sacred laws that govern pack succession?" Maya's throat tightened. She didn't. "Can you shift?" Sarah continued. "Can you run with the pack? Can you defend this territory when enemies come? Can you give the alpha the wolf children this pack needs to continue?" "Enough!" Kieran's voice cracked like thunder. His eyes flashed gold, and the air around him seemed to shimmer with power. Every wolf in the clearing felt it, the alpha's command, his authority, but Sarah didn't back down. "I'm not challenging your authority, Alpha." Her voice was steady. "I'm challenging your judgment. You're letting grief and guilt cloud your decisions. This human isn't your mate. She's your penance." Kieran moved so fast Maya barely saw it. One moment he was beside her. The next, he was inches from Sarah, towering over her, radiating raw dominance. "You dare!" His voice was barely human, a growl rumbling beneath the words. "I dare because I love you." Sarah's composure finally cracked. "I've loved you for 8 years. I stood by you when Evelyn died. I waited. I supported you. I earned my place at your side. And you throw it away for her?" Tears streamed down her face, but her voice remained strong. "She'll die, Kieran, just like Evelyn. Humans aren't meant for this world. And when she does, when you lose another mate, another chance at happiness, it will destroy you. I'm trying to save you from yourself." For a moment, the clearing was utterly silent. Kieran's jaw worked. When he spoke, his voice was quiet but deadly. "I loved Evelyn. I will always love her. But Maya isn't a replacement. She isn't penance. She's chosen. By me, by fate, by whatever force brought her into my life when I'd given up on ever feeling anything again." He turned to face the pack. "Maya Torres has proven herself. She's faced the truth about what we are and didn't run. She's fought for her daughter. She's earned her place here through courage, not bloodline. And anyone who challenges that challenges me. The Alpha's word, final and absolute. Most of the pack bowed their heads in acceptance, but Sarah stood rigid, shaking with fury and heartbreak. "Then you're a fool," she whispered, "and this pack deserves better." "Sarah Vaughn." Kieran's voice took on the formal tone of pack judgment. "You have challenged your Alpha's mate. You have disrupted a sacred ceremony. You have questioned my authority in front of the pack." Sarah lifted her chin. "I have. You leave me no choice." Kieran's expression was granite. "I hereby banish you from pack territory. You have until sunrise to leave. If you return, you will be considered hostile and dealt with accordingly." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Banishment was severe, cutting a wolf off from their pack, their family, their home. Sarah's face went pale. "Kieran, I'm showing you mercy because of your years of service, because this is my claiming day, because I don't want blood on this sacred ground." His golden eyes burned into hers. "But if you ever threaten my mate again, mercy won't save you." For a long moment, Sarah just stared at him. Then she looked at Maya, and the hatred in her eyes was pure and cold. "This isn't over," she said quietly. "You think you've won, but you've just made an enemy who knows every secret of this pack, every weakness, every vulnerability." She turned to leave, then paused. "Enjoy your victory, Maya Torres, because it won't last." Then she shifted, her body rippling into wolf form, auburn fur gleaming in the moonlight, and ran into the forest. Gone, but not defeated. The pack stood in shocked silence. Kieran turned back to Maya, his expression softening. He took her hands again, and she realized she was shaking. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I didn't want this day tainted." "It's not." Maya's voice was steadier than she felt. "She's right about one thing. I am an outsider. I don't know all your laws and traditions, but I'm learning, and I'm not going anywhere." Kieran's eyes searched hers. "Are you sure? Because Sarah meant what she said. She'll come back. She'll find a way to hurt us. Let her try." Maya squeezed his hands. "I didn't come this far to give up now." Pride and love blazed in Kieran's expression. He turned to the pack. "Let's finish this." And in a voice that carried across the clearing, "Maya Torres, do you accept this bond? Do you accept this pack as your family, this territory as your home, and me as your mate?" Maya looked out at the sea of faces, some supportive, some uncertain, all watching. She thought about everything that had brought her here, the desperate text, the wrong number, the impossible choice that had become the right one. "I accept," she said clearly. "All of it." The pack howled, though some voices were quieter than others. Kieran pulled her close and kissed her deeply, sealing the bond. But as the celebration began, as wolves shifted and ran beneath the full moon, Maya couldn't shake the image of Sarah's eyes, cold, calculating, promised. And somewhere in the dark forest beyond pack territory, an exiled wolf watched the celebration from the shadows. Sarah Vaughn had lost the battle, but the war had just begun. Epilogue. Later, as the celebration wound down and the pack began to disperse, Maya and Kieran stood at the clearing's edge, watching Lily play with the other children. "Do you ever regret it?" Maya asked. "Answering that text? Taking on all this?" Kieran pulled her against his side. "Not for a second." "Even when I'm stubborn?" "Especially then." She smiled. "What about when I question pack law?" "That keeps me honest." "And when I make you explain werewolf biology for the 100th time?" "I find it charming." He kissed her temple. "You came into my life when I'd given up on ever feeling anything again. You and Lily gave me a reason to keep fighting, to keep leading, to keep living." Maya looked up at him. "You did the same for us." "Then we're even." "No." She turned in his arms. "We're just getting started." Kieran smiled, a real, full smile that transformed his entire face. "I love you, Maya Torres." "I love you too, Kieran Blackwood." And as the full moon rose over the forest, casting silver light across the packlands, Maya thought about that desperate midnight text, that one wrong digit, the best mistake she'd ever made. But in the darkness beyond the celebration, golden eyes watched and waited. Sarah Vaughn wasn't done, not by a long shot. Quick question. If you received a text from a stranger offering to help, would you trust them? That's exactly what Maya had to decide, and it changed her life forever. If this story made you think, feel, or imagine, like to show your support, subscribe for daily stories. Comment your answer. Would you have trusted Kieran?